Let's jump right into this explainer. With AI basically exploding right now and VR headsets becoming totally mainstream, you've probably heard tech billionaires and physicists debating this wild idea. What if our baseline reality isn't actually real? What if it's all a simulation? But here's the crazy part. The blueprints for this exact cutting-edge theory, they weren't cooked up in Silicon Valley. They were actually written down in ancient India over 2,000 years ago. So buckle up because today we're literally unplugging from the matrix of Maya.
So let's start with a modern mystery, right? Back in 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom drops his famous simulation theory, and it asks this terrifyingly simple question. Is our world just an artificial construct? And by construct, he means our universe could literally just be lines of code running on some unimaginably massive galactic-sized hard drive. Like, are we just living in a hyper-advanced computer program controlled by something else entirely? Modern science treats this as this bold, brand new hypothesis. But as you're going to see, this idea is actually incredibly old. Take the movie The Matrix, for example. It actually mirrors the exact same philosophical journey mapped out centuries ago in the ancient Hindu text, the Bhagavad Gita. You know that iconic moment where Neo has to choose between the blue pill of blissful ignorance and the red pill of painful truth? Well, he's basically stepping into a narrative that ancient sages were talking about millennia before Hollywood even existed. Because both stories are fundamentally about the exact same thing, waking up from an artificial, constructed world to see the true reality hiding underneath it all. To really grasp this, we have to talk about Maya. In Sanskrit, Maya translates to illusion. But guys, it's not just some simple magic trick. Think of it as the ultimate virtual reality software. According to the Gita, this physical world, the walls that feel solid, the food you taste, it's all just sensory feedback generated by the system. Maya is literally the rendering engine of our universe. It completely masks the deeper underlying truth. Essentially, we are all born wearing these incredibly immersive VR headsets, and Maya is the program rendering the graphics seamlessly into our minds. Just like Neo taking the red pill to escape the Matrix, the Gita teaches that we need a spiritual red pill of our own. Put it in modern tech terms, we need to gain admin access or, turn on developer mode so we can see past the user interface of this simulation. Because right now, our senses are constantly lying to us. They generate an interface that tells us we're these separate, isolated beings in a physical universe. Uncovering our true nature means we have to actively transcend that programmed ignorance. The ultimate story representing this journey centers on Prince Arjuna. Imagine him here, standing on this massive battlefield called Kurukshetra. And Arjuna is just completely paralyzed by fear and confusion. Why? Because he is fully immersed in the VR game. He's totally forgotten it's a simulation, and he's feeling the very real, agonizing emotional weight of having to fight an army made up of his own relatives and teachers. But right beside him is his guide, Lord Krishna. And Krishna is about to offer Arjuna the ultimate red pill. He's offering to literally take his headset off and show him the ultimate truth behind the simulation. So we get to chapter 11 of the Gita, and Arjuna basically asks for the ultimate cheat code. Realizing Krishna isn't just an ordinary friend, Arjuna says, "I want to see your true divine form, the form that holds the entire universe." He wants to see the actual source code of reality. Krishna tells him, look, mortal physical eyes just don't have the bandwidth to process this raw data. So Krishna grants Arjuna divine vision. This is effectively a massive upgrade to Arjuna's processing power, like a cosmic GPU upgrade, allowing him to perceive a reality way beyond normal human limitations. And this brings us to the absolute climax of chapter 11. Krishna reveals his Vishwagrup, his universal form. Think of this exact moment like Arjuna taking off his VR headset for the very first time. The immersive graphics of the battlefield just drop away. Arjuna isn't looking at the simulation anymore. He's suddenly standing right in the vast, infinite server room where the universe itself is hosted. He's staring directly at the mainframe. What Arjuna sees next completely overloads his senses. Inside this universal form, he witnesses hundreds of thousands of faces and arms. He sees fire, mountains, rivers, and stars completely contained within one single entity. And even more mind-blowing, he experiences extreme time dilation. If the universe is a computer, Arjuna is suddenly seeing all the background processes rendered at the exact same time. The past, the present, and the future aren't happening sequentially. They are existing all at once in this dazzling light that's brighter than 1,000 suns. He's literally seeing every single frame of the cosmic movie played at the exact same millisecond. This terrifying, awe-inspiring concept of infinite creation and destruction happening at the exact same moment was incredibly profound. Decades later, it fundamentally shook modern history. When physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer witnessed the blinding blast of the very first atomic bomb, his mind instantly snapped back to this precise moment in Chapter 11 of the Gita. He famously recalled the line, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." It's that chilling realization of the raw, unfiltered source code of the universe suddenly being unlocked.
Now, when you map these ancient Hindu concepts directly onto modern physics, the parallels are honestly absolutely stunning. Take Maya. It perfectly mirrors quantum mechanics, specifically the observer effect. In quantum physics, reality only collapses into a fixed state when an observer looks at it. Just like a video game environment only renders its graphics when your character actually turns to look in that direction, Maya suggests reality only solidifies when we interact with it. And that Vishwaroop Arjuna saw? That completely echoes Hugh Everett's 1957 multiverse theory of alternate realities layered on top of each other. The ancient concept of kalpas, describing the cyclic creation and destruction of the universe, perfectly mirrors the cosmic inflation theory of an expanding and contracting universe. And then there's Indra's net. Sages describe this vast cosmic web, where at every intersection there's a jewel reflecting every other jewel in the net. I mean, that is just a flawless, beautiful metaphor for modern string theory and the interconnected cosmic web.
So, comparing modern simulation theory to the Bhagavad Gita reveals a striking parallel, but with a pretty crucial twist. See, modern science often wonders if highly advanced aliens or maybe future humans are running our simulation randomly from some supercomputer just for laughs. The Gita, however, posits that the Supreme Soul is the ultimate programmer. This Supreme Soul oversees the complex, holographic web of Maya not as a random science experiment, but as a governed, purposeful cosmic cycle of time and existence. Now, if the universe is a virtual reality simulation, what does that make you? Well, it means your physical body is essentially just an avatar. The Gita teaches that the real you, your underlying consciousness or Atman, is eternal. You are the player sitting outside the game. When your physical body dies, the player doesn't end. You simply log out and move to a new avatar. The text beautifully compares this to taking off old, worn-out clothes and simply putting on new ones. The player remains perfectly intact. It's only the avatar that changes. Bringing it all back down to earth, how do we actually use this knowledge to wake up from the illusion? The Gita uses this incredibly simple, elegant metaphor of a necklace. Imagine the universe as a beautiful, infinite necklace. The individual pearls are the planets, the animals, humans, nature. Every pearl looks completely different, giving us this illusion of separation. But under the surface, they are all held together by one invisible thread. Going back to our VR theme, that thread is the underlying network code connecting every single player in the multiplayer game. Tending to one pearl, like being kind to someone or protecting nature, literally means taking care of the entire interconnected network. To wrap up this explainer, if we truly understand Maya, if we realize that this world is a shared simulation and we all run on the exact same underlying source code, we're left with a pretty powerful realization. We really have to ask ourselves, if you knew for an absolute fact that we are all inextricably linked by the exact same invisible thread in a grand cosmic web, how would that change the way you treat the world right now, today? It's an ancient question, but man, it has never been more relevant. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep questioning the reality around you.